Over the past year, I've spoken with several senior executives in large organizations where the same sentence keeps coming up. We need an AI strategy. Our IT team or our data and technology team is putting something together. And every time I hear that, I pause. Not because IT isn't capable, not because data teams aren't brilliant, but because the framing itself reveals the real issue. AI is not a technology strategy. AI is a business strategy. Let me explain what I mean. When organizations decide to do AI, the first instinct is to look at what tools should we use, which LLM, which cloud provider, what data platform should we build or buy, all valid questions. But they are second order questions. The first order question is, what business problem are we redesigning? Let me share a small story. Recently, I was speaking to a senior executive who told me, we've launched 5 AI pilots this year. I asked him one question. What is the ROI you're expecting from these pilots? And what is the duration of impact? There was silence. That silence is the gap most organizations are facing. AI activity does not equal AI value. The core misunderstanding is this. AI feels technical, it involves data, it involves models, it involves infrastructure. So naturally, it gets delegated to IT or data teams. But here's the thing, IT optimizes for stability, security, architecture, governance. Business leaders optimize for growth. They're optimizing for speed. They're optimizing for margin. They're looking at ROI. They're looking at competitive advantage. AI sits in this second category. AI is about decision velocity. It is about workflow design. It's about changing how work gets done at scale. That's not a technology agenda. That's a leadership agenda. And let me contrast 2 scenarios. Company A, IT-led AI, right? The CIO is asked to lead AI in this organization. A Gen AI task force is created, a chatbot is launched internally, some dashboards become more intelligent, a few use cases are piloted, and 6 months later, adoption is limited, ROI is unclear, business units aren't fully engaged. AI becomes an innovation experiment. All very interesting, but it's not transformative. Now consider company B, right, which is business-led AI. The head of sales over there says that, why are deals taking 90 days instead of 60 days, right? The COO says, why are 20% of our orders manually reworked? The CMO says, we're spending millions on campaigns without predictive optimization. Now the conversation changes. Instead of asking what AI tools should we use, we ask, how should this workflow look if AI was embedded from the start? The conversation changes there. Now that's a completely different mindset. Now IT and data teams do step in, not to define ambition, but to enable it, right? They bring in data pipelines, they bring in model development, they bring in security, governance, integration, their whole knowledge of understanding AI from a technical standpoint. Now, AI moves from being a pilot to becoming part of the operating model. And that is where value is created. Here's a simple way to think about it. AI value is not model accuracy. AI value equals business workflow multiplied by decision leverage, multiplied by adoption at scale. Now that equation leads to value. If adoption is going to be low, value is 0. If workflow isn't redesigned, value is marginal. If business leaders don't own it, it just stays experimental. And this is where leadership maturity comes in. If your AI strategy does not sit with your P&L owners, it will not scale. because only business leaders can answer which decisions truly matter. Where is margin leaking? Where are we slow? What is customer experience breaking? Where is it breaking? And where is competitive pressure rising? Data teams cannot feel that pressure. Business leaders live it every quarter. And there's another subtle issue. Many organizations treat AI as a capability layer, something to just add on to what you're doing already. But the companies that win with AI are not adding AI to workflows. They are redesigning workflows around it. And that requires rethinking roles, rethinking accountability, rethinking decision rights, rethinking KPIs. That is strategy. Now, I want to be clear. This is not about removing IT from the equation. It's quite the opposite, actually. IT and data functions are critical, but their role is to enable, their role is to scale, their role is to secure, govern, not define business ambition. And that has to be very clear. When AI sits only in IT, you get pilots. When AI sits with business leaders, you get transformation. So if you're thinking about AI in your organization, here's the simple structure. First, define business ambition. Which workflows, what value target, what timelines are you looking at? What is your measurable outcome? Have you decided on what that is? You need to know that measurable outcome. Second, AI tech defines enablement, right? Now, they look at architecture, they look at data quality, they look at the vendor ecosystem, what's the latest and the greatest out there. They look at model governance, right? And the third layer is joint accountability. Business owns the ROI, tech owns the enablement, and the CEO, the C-level sort of leadership owns the prioritization, what really works and what's going to be out there. And that alignment is where AI maturity begins. I'll close with this. The companies that win in the AI era will not be the ones with the best models. No, they'll be the ones who redesigned how work gets done. AI is not an intelligence race, it's a leadership race. And leadership cannot be outsourced to IT. We don't need more AI pilots. We need clearer business ownership because AI is not a technology strategy. It is a business strategy.